my offense going into the playoffs, my team is looking at running 13 different offenses. And that's going to be a mix of sets. That's going to be a mix of plays, and that's going to be a mix of how we free play, which we'll talk about today. And so some people think that, and that's actually, I said that in the last presentation, and people are like, I'd love to hear a breakdown of what all that is. So that's how we came up with the February topic. If that's what the coaches want to hear, that's what we're doing. So, and it's the same thing with my defense. So some people think it's crazy with my defense. We run about 5 to 6 different defenses. And they could be what I would call like defensive plays. Like we have a trap at X, right? And that's not a defense. That's more or less like, hey, we're going to look for this opportunity and we're going to try and expose X, Y, and Z at this time. So just to give you a little bit of background, I do think that my players, when they go off to college, are well prepared. A lot of them usually have the same feedback, like college is easier. And I'm just like, all right, that's great. So I prepared you. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down, kind of just explain some plays, sets, and then free play, the difference of them, how I view them, and then how I use them. And then I have tons and tons of video that I can show you so that it all kinds of comes full circle. The first thing is just plays. Okay. So I want to define all of them. Like, what do I think are plays? Okay. So plays are, there's something scripted. Okay. It's something very scripted. It's a specific look we're looking for. We are looking for a specific desired result. And we are also looking to isolate something. Okay, so in some of the plays today that I'll show you, you'll see that they're different plays. They look totally different, but they're looking to exploit or isolate something very specific. And yes, it's scripted. When do I use plays? Okay, I'll put this 2 different ways. One would be when I was at Daniel Boone dealing with kids that can't catch and throw, and it was hard to get the ball around once. That's a good time to have plays, right? Because now I'm limiting who I want to limit. I'm hiding who I want to hide. I'm playing towards whatever strength I believe I have, whether it's 3 of us or 5 of us or 7 of us or whatever it is. And so I think, beginnerish teams, plays are great. Okay. I think lower skill level teams, plays are great, right? When we don't have the stick skills and the ball movement and the IQ enough to let them play, or to run what we're going to get to in a second is sets, then plays is the only structure they're going to have. Because if we let them play and they don't know how to play, we're just setting ourselves up for disaster. Okay, so another thing is, that's when I would use them from a team perspective. But when I would use plays in a game, okay, special situations, coming in and out of timeouts, end of half, to start a half, short time on the clock. I'm also looking, if I'm letting them play that day or that half or that 10 minutes or whatever, and letting them play is getting me a stale or stagnant result. Okay, so if I'm letting them play and they're not playing the way we want to let them play, if it's too slow, it's one person dodging and a bunch of people watching, okay, then I'm going to start to call plays. You guys have shown me that letting us play right now is not a good option, so then I'm going to revert back to plays. And I also, because I have multiple plays, I use it a lot to kind of throw off the defense and keep them guessing. If I respect the other team's defense, if I respect them and I think they are a well-oiled machine, then a lot of times I'll start my games by throwing 3 or 4 ridiculous plays at them, because I want them to get out of their comfort zone of, hey, they're going to play us this way, our defense is going to work. So I'm immediately starting the game with throwing some crazy stuff at them. Okay, so those are some of the times I use plays. The other thing the next thing is kind of is what is a set, right? A set to me is a systematic offense, some sort of offensive system that is not a play where it's one look or one specific desired result. Okay, it's something that you can continually run, right? So I'm not going to run a play and then it doesn't work and then spin it once and run that play again and spin it once and run that play again. That's not creating a set, right? That's just running the play repeatedly and it's going to look the same way. Now, if I'm getting a great result, let's say that play is getting the desired result, I'll go back to it until they show me I don't have to. But a set is more systematic. It's continual. I think it's reads based. So I talk a lot about if you're a dodger on my team or initiator, I train those girls. I actually teach them what a triple option quarterback is in the football world. And so a triple option quarterback has to make a pre-snap read, then they snap the ball, they have to make a read immediately, then the play develops, they need to make a second read and the third read before they make their decision. So we tell our girls, if you want to dodge in our offense, okay, and not just be a cutter or a picker or a role player, then you need to understand what a triple option quarterback is. And so something that I've talked about in the past is just kind of charting your point of attack or your dodges. Okay, so for me, every possession we have we average 25 possessions a game. So if I look back over the whole year, anytime we cross the 30, I don't care if you're doubled and you lose it right away. If we cross the 30, we're counting that as a possession. We had the opportunity to have possession, and we should have gotten a possession. Now, if you turn it over, that's still a possession and it goes against us. But we average 25 trips a game over the 30. And for each possession, we average at least 3 dodges. So that's 75 point of attacks or dodges in a game. And the reason I tell my players is if you want to be, if we look at our best player, we say, hey, Michelle's our best player. She's going to dodge, 15 times a game. And then the second best player is going to do 15. And now there's only, 40 dodges left. And there's 10 other players here. So I get them to think about their responsibility as a dodger. If you want to be a dodger in our offense, you have to be good at making the reads and taking care of the ball and then doing what we need to do off of those. So it kind of weeds out your players, because you can say at practice, hey, listen, every time you dodge, you charge through a double or you force the ball inside. That tells me you're making 0 of the reads, and you're now going to be more of a cutter, a picker, a role player. You're not going to be an initiator until you can show in practice that you can fix those things. So it's reads based, it's triple option quarterback. There's multiple options in a set, right? In a play, it's one option, one look. And then if you run it again, it's the same option, the same look. A set is more systematic. It's tempo driven. You need tempo and pace to run a system properly. And then in terms of when do I use sets, I would say that's the majority of my offense. Okay, so if we look at a whole game, I'm probably going to run sets 50% of the time. I'm going to use plays 25% of the time, and I'm going to use free play 25% of the time. So if I looked at an offensive game as a whole, and so when I keep a sheet on me, and as soon as we enter the 30, that's one possession. I call this, I call that, I check it off. So at the end of the game, I can look down in chronological order, possession by possession, what was working, what was I running, and I also circle things. So if I'm circling something that's working 3 times in a row, I'm going to go back to that multiple times. So I keep kind of a chart, okay? And if I look back at the whole offense, I am usually 50% of the time I am running sets. 25% of the time I'm calling plays, and 25% of the time I'm letting them free play, okay? So, and that, I'll talk about free play real quick.
I have a quick question, sorry. For your sets, and maybe you'll get into this, do you give them, when we run a set, for instance, we might run a 43 or a 52, or do you give them those boundaries or no?
Yes. So my sets do have structure to them. I'm going to show you basically my base offense, which is a set. But in the perfect world, and I tell my girls this all the time, in the perfect world, we just go in the game and we just run that set from beginning to end. And we could, right? The only time that sometimes it's working great, and sometimes to a default, I just get bored watching it, and I'm like, oh, I got all these cool plays. Let's mix it up a little bit. And if we start to get a lead, I should just stay in it. But sometimes I like to mix it up and try things going forward. So when we talk about free play, okay, free play to me still has structure. And we'll show you that. I'll explain that to you when we get to free play. It has structure. It does have rules. It just has less structure than sets and way less script than plays, okay? And if your team is trained well, which starts in practice, if you practice properly, you stick to common concepts, common core concepts. So even though when we get into my plays, even though a play may look totally different, once the initiation starts, everything after the initiation follows the triple option process. So even though they're different plays, we're still reverting back to those core things that we drill daily, okay? And so with free play, if we're trained well, it should resemble what you do in practice. you should be able to watch your free play and be able to pick out, oh yeah, we do that. Oh yeah, we do that. And that's why they're doing that. And it becomes, it's muscle memory. And you'll see in the end, when we come full circle here, my free play is going to look very much like my set. And but again, they had the choice to do that, right? And so we'll get into that in a second. But you're also, your core values and your standards are very clear in free play, right? Free play does not look like helter skelter. If it's just randomness, right, then that tells me your practice is probably somewhat frantic, right? And that you guys don't really hammer home specific core concepts or patterns, right? So a lot of our drills are pattern based, like shallow cut, and then you'll see shallow cuts in the free play. So our free play, we call it wild. So if I yell, and you'll see this on the clips, if I yell wild, that means the girls are basically have freedom to do what they want to do. That's our wild offense. But our wild free play offense has rules to it. So for instance, as soon as you move the ball to a teammate, you have three choices. You can either pick for them, pick away, or cut through. You basically can't go wrong unless you literally pass and stay there. So when I'm repping this in practice, it's very simple to keep it accountable. Hey, I watched you pass the ball and you stayed there. I'm not telling you that you have to run my play or you have to pick for the ball. I'm giving you the choice to pick for the ball, pick away, or cut through. Or this is where they use flips, right? Stuff they do in practice. Now they have the freedom to do it. But I'm giving them options that all, to me, result in good offense. And then there are also things that we always rep. So we're a big two-man game. We have a lot of two-man pick and roll practices. My whole winter looks like a box practice. And so you'll see when they pick for the ball, they're doing what we rep in practice. When they pick away, that's also something we rep in practice. When they cut through, that's just good lacrosse. And so they always have that choice of how do you guys want this to be? So if you and I are really good friends and we love doing the flip play in practice, when we hear wild, that's basically a green light for us to try things that we normally that we do in practice or that we want to do, but they're not necessarily part of Casey's plays or Casey's sets. This is where they have that choice. And we practice wild in practice. We'll say, hey, today's a 5-on-5 day and we're just doing all wild, no calls. You guys do what you want. So that's their rules on the wild offense. But then they also follow the rules of anytime we initiate offense, whether that be an ISO, a dodge, sweeping across the top, you pass to me and then you pick for me, that's initiation, that's two-man. Anytime there's initiation, we move the ball forward off of initiation. And then my off-ball players have rules like stay wide. And then we also do a lot of drills with 3 to 5 seconds. So we practice the tempo. And so if we're in a wild practice where we're doing 7-on-7 wild, I'm literally standing there. And as soon as you touch the ball, I just start counting out loud. And if you get to 3, you need to move the ball unless you're dodging or initiating, which means you can get to 5. So we call it 3 to 5 second drill. The players hate it because I'm literally crazy with the whistle. If you're not initiating and I'm on 4, I'm like 4, 5, 6. And they're like, and I'm like, hey, talk to your teammate. They should have gotten open sooner, right? It's not necessarily your fault you held the ball too long. It could be your adjacent player not working off ball. So we rep that tempo so that even when we go to free play, there are rules and there are patterns, and there's also, you're not looking around saying, well, where do we start this or how do we start this? You just start it and the pattern begins, right? So that's kind of the breakdown of plays. Okay, plays are specific result, scripted. We're isolating something. We're using them to shake up the offense if it's stale. We're using that to keep the defense guessing. We're using it in special situations, in and out of timeouts, before the half, start a half, out of the half. And then sets, like I said, is just systematic. It's continuous. It's reads based. It has multiple options, and then free play. So does anybody have any questions this far?
Yeah, real quick, Coach. On your sets, I know plays, obviously everyone has like a defined role. Like you're going to go here, you're going to pick. I mean, it's like you said, it's well scripted. But in your sets, how much do you find like the roles that you have set up? You know, if you're going to initiate and there's going to be a pass pick away or whatever, how much of that stays together and how much of that falls apart in how much of it really matters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like I think I know what you're saying, and I think you'll see that here coming up. But so like my rotation, my first set, my base offense kind of has the middies stay up top, the attack have their roles, and they do get interchanged. So I will say to them, attackers need to know all four spots because you're going to rotate through because it's going to continue to move. And middies are the same way. So you need to learn all the different spots of your spot, but they also need to be interchangeable high to low. So there are some times where this is something that we will be doing a lot this year. Some of the defense we play have 4 stud low defenders. So that's their strength. I'm not letting those 4 low defenders play low D. I'm switching my entire offense, but we're going to keep that same set. But my middies will play low, and my attack will come high. And so we're in a special spot this year where my attackers can all go run the 30 and play D if they have to. So I'm not worried about getting stuck middies low. But what I know is I'm going against 4 stud defenders that have great chemistry all around the crease. So I'm taking them out of that, and I'm putting their middies down low. So they do have to be interchangeable. But you'll see that it is important to an extent. So like the person who plays behind the cage for X for me, to me is the most important player in my offense. The rest of them are really interchangeable. But my most trusted, smartest player is the girl that should be behind X almost all the time. And so she's going to have to keep cycling back there. And I will make her stay there until I switch it elsewise. But all the other pieces, for the most part, are interchangeable. Does that help? And I think you'll see more in the video coming up here. What I'll do is I'm just going to show you on the board my base offense, okay? And then I'll show you the video of it to go with it. But it'll be easy to take notes here in terms of like the positions and what we call them, okay? So if this is, okay, so I've got attack, attack, attack on the elbow, midi, midi, midi. Okay, so my base offense, we call it 400. It's actually, it was a 1-4-1 offense that I ran at the Hill School that I modified to the girls' game. But it's basically a high wing dodge down the right alley 400. So this system, or this set, okay, is where we're going to line this girl up. This is the person we want on the ISO. Okay, so we want her in line with the pipe, and we're going to ISO and go down the right alley. Okay, this first girl here, okay, attack, 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 midi, midi. Okay, so when we dodge, okay, she starts to line this up, and if you follow my Shake School stuff, I'm big on like slide them and leave them. We're not catching this ball and dodging. She's going to slide this girl left so that we're in line with the pipe, but that also gives everybody else the visuals that, hey, we're getting ready to start, so that their timing can be on point. While she's sliding, and before she starts to chop it up and initiate her dodge, the first read she has is a twist. And this is just an exchange. Okay, so we're occupying, we're getting rid of if this is their one slide, we're moving her away, and we're trying to catch a quick look inside. That's the first look. That's not there. She's not going to come into my space. It's kind of shifts away and stays on the far side. Then we initiate. This girl on the elbow is just clear through. She is not an option. She is making it so that these two are now in a 2-man game, and she's going to go into the crease, and now we're mirroring. Okay, so if you're familiar with a mirror, we're mirroring. I'm telling this girl, and we talk about this all the time, we train this girl. She is going through at the time of shooting space. She is supposed to time her cut with what we would view as shooting space. So what we are doing essentially is, the rule is this isn't shooting space if she's marked. We're putting the pressure on the referee to make a call. And they're going to miss this call half the time, and they're going to get it wrong half the time, and that's going to be an 8-meter for us. So we are putting the referee in a position to see what looks like shooting space and decide whether she's marked or not. This girl is a senior now going to play at Temple. She's very crafty at this little front swing. We get that call a lot. We get it a lot. But I'm taking, a rule from the girls' game, and I'm putting emphasis on the referee to be subjective on a subjective call. And so we're putting the referee on in here. And if they call that, we know going forward, hey, we can get this look multiple times. So we're already learning right off the bat how this game's going to go. So we're running a 2-man game right here. We want this slide because this girl's going to a high crease. So we want this slide to come so that we get the easy layup. That's read number 2. Read number 1 is the twist. Well, actually, it's read number 3. Read 1 is the twist. Read number 2 is if we beat our girl one-on-one. Read number 3 is the front side. And then if we don't get any of that action, we're carrying to GLE. This girl goes to X. We bang the ball forward, and now we're in the backside of our offense. So we have front side offense with multiple options. Then it flows to the backside. So I'll get my defender out of here. And this is where, if I run this back, this is where you're going to see how we get people back to their, like, in the same kind of area. So as this girl goes through, this is an attacker. She's going through to the backside. So we've got attack, 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 attack now. Okay. Midi, midi, midi. They're twisting. They stay in midi rolls. Now they stay in midi spots. This person dodges, but we front swung an attacker in. When she moves the ball to X, okay, directly at X. Now I'm a big stickler on X. Okay. I do not allow this girl to come front side to get the ball to then run backside. That's a waste of 8 yards. So my girl is deep at X with her stick in leading position, and we run this pass all day long at practice. They must lead this girl so she can catch and just hit the other side, because in the girls' world, we have most of our defenders playing this game. So as soon as we get to X, she's usually on the front side. And now we catch and drive. We're 2 steps ahead to the front side race. So I'm not letting this girl, like, we literally have a cone back here in practice. If she's front side, I'm blowing the whistle and I'm saying you're killing our offense. It's that simple. You have to be deep at directly at X, not X-ish, X, right? So when we get here, okay, this midi hangs for a split second in case we get this shot. These two, this is the girl who went into mirror. She's now mirroring the ball still. So she's mirroring again. So as I get to GLE, she cycles behind. Now this midi can float back up into rotation. So I'm keeping my attack here, okay? If we go to this look again, ball's here at X. Ball's at X. So we ran the front side to set up the backside. We had twist. We had our own dodge. We had the front swing. Those are our 3 reads. That's our triple option read. Not there, check it down, move it forward, ball goes to X, okay? So now the ball is at X. Her job, based on our rules, is to always push the ball forward. We have a 2-man game on the front side. She can pick or she can get through. That's her choice. Second attacker always goes through. Now that's the girl that just went across. She's coming back again. And now what we're doing is we've got this attacker has now mirrored to X. We had a 2-man game attack here, and then we had the cutter. So now look what I have. All 4 attackers still low. They just need to balance out as we move the ball forward. When we go forward here, nothing, nothing, nothing. I leave the island. This is my best player. I give her the island option. She can rock her. She can re-attack there. She has the island to choose what she wants to do there. But once she has made her reads, again, did I hang my defender on X is read 1. Read 2 is the inside mirror. Read 3 is the front man, 2-man game. Now we check it down. We move it forward. This girl is high and wide. This is float and support. This is float and support. This midi has cycled through. And now we're on the second round and everything is balanced out. So we can continue to go round and round. So if I was taking notes here, I would set this up like this. And then I would label these. This is dodger. This is cutter. This is front swing and mirror. This is X. This is 2-man game option. This girl is support and float. This girl is support and float. And if we got all the way around, we would just continue to do that. And you'll see that in the video. Okay, so there's any questions on this so far on the board? Now I'll give you like real video. Questions? Good?
So, Casey, the timing of that front side attacker, I think you called it the mirror. Yeah. So, I've typically had that player kind of wait as if we set up an isolation for that dodger top right. Yeah. So I'm curious as to what time you said you bring that mirror front side on the crease at the time of shooting space.
Yes.
So
So
are you talking about as soon as she clears her hands, basically?
she's gonna work off of this girl's motion. So as she starts to slide and then start to chop it up and get into her move, that's when she's probably gonna be right on the 8. And then as she separates, she's trying to create that window of shooting space. Yes. So it's a finesse game there, but that's like a good chemistry. And if we dial this back, if we were in practice, like when I do my one-on-ones, it'll actually be a 2-on-2. And we would throw this ball up, slide, and this would be a 2-on-2 game that we would rep out in practice instead of doing one-on-ones. It would always be, hey, we're doing one-on-ones, but they're really 2-on-2s, top right corner with the mirror.
And do you try to get that attacker to get behind the defender?
So she's got options. She can do both. If she thinks she's ball watching, and now again, this is a lefty. So if she goes in front of her offense, well, that's a great option for us. So if she sees she's ball watching and we can go in front, we can feed this early.
Yeah.
Or we'll backdoor her and try and drag her through shooting space. I think it's more in back or front is more, as long as the timing's on point, you're still going to drag her into shooting space.
If I know you always want to play it forward, and I like that, and obviously getting it behind is key. But what if it gets banged back top? Then you just run it from the other side.
So what if she like rolls back, throw back? So if she rolls back, throw back, we now and it's so like that's a great question. If I'm yelling forward and and it's forward is locked off and that is not the good play, they can roll it back. That now becomes forward. And so if she did roll this back and throw back, we have a whole nother option that comes from this corner.
Okay.
This would be we just call, and you see this one a lot in college. We call it dig, because you're going to dig into the 8. If this girl had to roll back, throw back, we would swing it, hit this corner. This is just 2 through, and then we're digging into the 8, and we're going to try and play this fade game forward where we suck the adjacent defender. So if it were to get reversed, it would just turn into a dig. But dig could also be the system. So usually when I'm set, or the set, so sometimes I'll say like, hey, first possession of the game, we're going all 400, right? Sometimes I'll say, all digs. And that means we're going to swing here, dig, forward, X, play this game, forward, dig, and we're going to continue to loop through, sweeping into the 8, and then action at X. So we have front side and back side again, but it can be continuous, and it's not a set play. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And are you partly doing that to see where the slides are coming from?
So, and I'll show you that in this video. My first possession, usually my first 2 possessions of every game are completely scripted, and we would run. So I'll show you that in the video. Our first 2 possessions is definitely, we call it a recon mission. We're not worried about the goal on the first time we beat someone and get to the cage. That's worth 1 point. But if we crack your slide package, that's worth 9, 10, 11, 12 points. So we do explain that to our girls. I don't care about the first goal of the game. We still want to score first, but we can get it a minute and a half into the possession after we've learned everything that we need to learn for the rest of the day. So you'll see that right here in the beginning, because I'm going to start with that. And in this, we call the first dodge, we call it joker. So the first time we get here, the first run through the whole 400, we call it joker, right? And it's because I didn't want to yell dummy dodge all day, but it's literally a dummy dodge. It's a joker. We're laughing at them to figure out what they're doing. So we run our opening possession almost every single game will be the same. We get it around twice, so everyone gets quick 2 touches. We're running 2 jokers, and then the third dodge from up here is live. And we're doing that for multiple reasons. Number 1, the recon mission. If we run it and see their slide, run it again, see their slide, third time is live. But now on the third time, what we've done is all 3 of my middies have had an opportunity to initiate the offense in the first possession. So I'm giving all 3 of my middies a run. The first 2, they are not allowed to shoot. Even if they break the girl's ankles and they are staring at the goalie, they are not allowed to shoot it. They are not allowed. And that's something talk about a player saying, what? And I'm like, yeah, well, again, your 1 goal isn't worth the 8. So in this first opening possession of the game right here, This is like, this might be 3 years ago. All right, so the first thing we yell is 20, right? And so that's like the equivalent to yelling yellow. We're just saying 20, we're getting it 2 times around, and it takes 20 seconds off the clock. It takes 20 seconds to get the ball around, and that's just how we start possessions. If it's not a fast break, we're in 20. So you're gonna see him kick it around here. Everyone's wide, everyone's getting touches, okay? 1 time, 2 times. Let me see if you can hear the audio. Can you guys hear that? All right, perfect. So you'll hear me. This is the first one. So right here, we just had our twist. Okay, they're probably early. If I go slow forward, so number 1 right here is going to be the first person running the joker. All right, so she's the first initiator, and these are all 3 mids right in a row, midi, midi, midi. Okay, so she gets the ball. She's already lined up with the pipe, so she's starting. But now look to her left. Here's the twist happening. Okay, 27 is going for 16. This girl is clear through decoy. Okay, so this girl is the girl we talked about. She's the higher attacker. She's just clearing space so that we can get the front side game. So the twist is late, in my opinion, right? That's not bad. They're even. We could hit 16 here coming if it was an option. Dodge. And so now, okay, so this is, I remember this. This girl here was the front swing. She's way early. She was a backup lefty attacker. My first starter had a concussion for the first part of the game. So she's super early. Like that's the clear through. And now look, she's already in there. That's not shooting space. There's no way we're going to get the call. She's super early. Here's a dodge. And now look, so we talked about this. This is why I always use this clip first. This is a great look. And she shoots this. And when she came to the sideline, I said, we don't shoot that. That's joker early in the game. But, I mean, she hits the pipe, okay? But I don't want that shot because what I just learned here is that we can beat that girl all day long. So let's learn what we can. So we back it up here.
Where's your elbow attacker from the opposite side? Did she cut through? That's not who cut through, right? Because it was your low attacker that cut through, right? Or no?
Well, you got 2 going through. So right here is the elbow attacker.
Okay.
And then the next girl was the early low attacker from low GLD.
Okay.
And she was early. And now look, see, this was early, and this is the first game of this year. This right here, we bring this up on film. She is not at X, right? She's came to the front side. We want you at X there. So that's something we brought up in film. Back it up. I just yelled 20. That just means get it moving around. And now we're going the second time. So here's your second midi. Midi number 2 is going to get a run. She does it right. Ready? Watch this. Again, okay, so look. Early, there's the cut through, and my crease front swing girl is early again, right? These are rookie early season mistakes. But now, look at this girl. She gets a great look as well, but now look what we just learned. They will send the slide from the front swing. Okay, so if we run this back, look where this slide comes from. Going through, and now look, she's coming from the front swing right there. So now we know that they will slide from the crease. Notice how she passed up this shot as well. She looked right at it. This is a good take. We'll shoot that all game, right? That's a great look. We pass it up because we're still trying to learn the slides, but we just learned it right there, that they will come from the crease. Now you see some of the 2-man game on the backside. Okay, so here's my attacker. We have 2 girls coming through on the wing. One of them could have set a pick or they can go through. It's their job to read the space and time as to whether they pick it or we just cut through there and look for backdoor. So there's your 2 girls going through. Nothing there. We're still in joker. And now here's a little bit of 2-man, and now we're moving it forward. So now we're live on the third look. Live on the third look. Here's one of the middies. This is the one who just passed up the look right before that. There they went. So we get the look that we just had 3 times in a row. But if you look where the slide comes from, right from the crease. So we know that if Cynthia here gets her timing right and stays high in the crease, she should have a great day. based on what they're showing us early in the possession. So there it is. This is the same look she just passed up 22 seconds before. So in that system, we could run that system all day long. Okay, here's another one. So here we're in a 20. And so now look, so this is, when you asked earlier, do I specifically call for people? This one I did call for her. I wanted 16 to go first. So she's dragging all the way to the top because she's the designated first go. And now you'll look, one twist for 27 or exchange or pick away, whatever you want to call it. We just call it a twist. There's our front swing. So this is my starter, right? So the timing is way better. So this goes back to your question earlier is what's the timing? This timing is way better. We've cleared 24. Our hands are free. Here's my girl going in front of the defender to drag this low defender through shooting space. And right there is where I'm waiting for the referee to decide how we're going to call this today. She just, we learned she's coming from the crease. We learned again, this is a whole new opponent. They're going to come from the crease. And to me, this could very easily on any given day been called shooting space. At any time, this could have been a good shooting space. But we're in Joker. Move it forward. Backside two-man. Okay. Here's, and if we look back when I said she goes in and mirrors. So let's look at my front swing girl right here. Can you see my mouse? So let's watch her on slow-mo. She's inside. She mirrors the dodger. Now she's going to hang out and mirror back to X. So that's how we refill her on the backside. And if her girl would have slid again, we would have hit the one-on-one. Now, as we go forward here, right, if this wasn't a Joker situation or early in the game, this is my best player right here. She's my X girl. I'm telling her in a game, you don't move this forward. This is the best matchup on the field right now. Why would we move it forward and continue to run the system? We have one-on-one next to the cage, and there's no help for 15 yards. So in a game, if we weren't in Joker mode and this was live, or if this was late, she's going to re-dodge this. But now you have girl filling space, move it forward. Next midi going. Here's the twist coming. Twist is coming. It's a little bit late. Viv is early on the front swing, right? She's early this time.
What?
Move the ball to X. Now Monica's doing a great job of being directly at X and not forward. And look, 11 here, if we weren't in Joker, should have picked or gotten through. But we're still in Joker, so they can be a little lazy on this. And now this next one is live. But look at their defense as a whole. They're just completely jumbled right now because we've gone through two systematic permutations of the set and the motion. Okay, so now we run it forward, and now this is live. This is the first dodger, and I probably scripted her again. So I called her for the first dodge. I realized that she could beat 24, and now I want her going live on the third one. And as she goes here, boom, front swing, there's the slide, and she drills the shot. Okay, so we get that slide again off the crease. And again, like, I don't know, would it absolutely shock you if 44 or this other girl were called for shooting space? Because it wouldn't shock me. Here's me saying the twist should happen early. So this was a film breakdown. I said to them, I said, this needs to happen earlier. Look, they're lazy and late. Lazy and late. Now look at the inside crease girl though, right? Look at our front swing. Look how quickly they leave. There we are and going in front again, coach. And now look, this could be shooting space if she had cleared her girl. But again, they're sliding, and that she's wide open in there. She's wide open in the crease. We play, again, risk versus reward. She has to choose whether she can get it in there or not. Going again. And she said same thing. Girl at X was out of position, but she knows the ball needs to move forward. She knows that she has to now do Monica's job of getting through X and pushing the backside. She didn't stop to think. She didn't like say, hey, who's supposed to be back here? And now look what we end up. She draws a slide. She knows to move the ball forward. And now look, we get a girl stepping in, shooting space. Easy offense. And now the interesting thing about this one is we just showed you how open the crease was, right? We showed you how they were sliding from the crease. Ready? Watch this. So now we've learned that early in the game. This is later. We know the crease is open. And now we got a girl shooting behind the back on the crease because we know that it's going to be there. We know they're going to fire from the crease early and often. And so now we know to keep our eyes in there and choose when and where do we punch that in. Here's one more for 400, and then I'll get off of. This is the one set I'll show you guys. So this is like my base set. To me, this offense checks all the boxes to me. This has everything I want my players to do all in one system. They know it well. They're going into their 4th year of running this. Nobody should have a question about their responsibilities in this offense whatsoever. This was day one, offense one, and it's a major staple to of what we do offensively, right? So we'll skip her. Here we go again, 400. Twist is lazy. Front swing, slow. This was like a Saturday game. It was hot. They were just dragging, and it was great to be in a system, right? It may have been slow and rusty and lazy, but again, we know what we're going to get. We know what it's going to look like as we run it repeatedly. And there it is, just bodying your way in and getting a good angle one-on-one. Does anybody have any questions on 400? So that to me is what I would call, that's a set for us, right? We're going to run 400 a lot of the game. We're going to do it for the first 2 possessions. We may sprinkle in some plays to get away from it, and then we come back to it. Or what I like to do is hammer 400 home for the entire first half and show them nothing else. I've had players come up to me saying, Coach, you know gold will blow this wide open. And I'll say, right, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to let them go into halftime, game plan for 400, and then we're running the whole second half in gold. Put them in pairs, and we're going to let them work in pairs. One pair is here. Those are my 2 best girls in Wawa. These are my 2 quarterbacks. These are seniors. These are captains. These are smart IQ players that understand what we're trying to do. Okay. Then I'm going to put this elbow, and I'm going to put a pair on this elbow, and then I'm going to keep basically a high safety, which is going to be part of a play. I like to run this set into a play, which it'll be a play I show you, and it's going to seem like the simplest, easiest play ever, but it like gets crazy results. And so what we're doing is we're going to work the ball between my 2 most important players. And as the ball goes back and forth, we're trying to get this look. We're trying to get this look. So it's a front side pair. It's 1, 2, 3 seconds here. Then we're going to the other side. We're trying this. This girl is a safety for overthrows. Or if this girl starts to sink in, we can slice this. Okay, then when this all gets stagnant, which this is usually the least amount of, we get the least offense from here. What we're really trying to do is get everyone focused here and run a 2-man situation here. That's what we're trying to do. Slow it down and isolate 2 around the crease. So I'll show you that now. This is Wawa. Okay, so I got you'll see them, and they're going to go to it. So right now they're in 20. We're calling 20 right now, and I'm calling Wawa. You can see them going to their spots, right? So she's going to carry all the way below. She's going all the way below because it's these 2 that run Wawa for me, right? Senior captain and a junior stud. And so they're going to run Wawa here. We're going to go 2 behind, and we're going to take our time looking for those looks on the elbow. And then we're going to find the crease situation. So we got 2 behind. They're getting in their pairs. I do sometimes script who's on what side, lefties and things like that, or I'll hide a certain player with one of my stronger players. And so we're going back and forth. She's looking at it. It's 1, it's 2. There's a good shot coming down the alley. We back it up. Okay, we bring it in, and now this is where, again, they're realizing already that these girls are putting a lot of emphasis on these stacked and cutters and muddle and all that stuff. And so look what happens. She realizes I have the one-on-one with no help anywhere near her. So now we take it. She realizes she has it, no help near her, defender sleeping, so we're going for it. Here's another set of
Your partners are not switching sides, right? So like your 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever that are partners on the elbows, they're cutting in, replacing back to the
staying
same.
on their side, correct. But you could switch that up. I could see benefits to both. That would give a lot more cross 8 defensive assignments versus letting them kind of pair it up. But I'm really
we run this. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. So do you go across the 8 then, or are you staying on your side?
We do that, the even numbers that we run it. So the first or the second, fourth, sixth, eighth time we run it or whatever, we go across, and then the odd numbers we stay.
Okay.
So what happens is the time that so we ran it the first time, they think we're coming back, but then the second time we run across and they try to just kind of cheat defensively and stay on that side. We're getting wide open in the middle of the 8.
Yeah. And so when people ask me, like, why isn't this a play? Well, again, this is continuous and there's multiple options. There's not a specific look we're looking for. This is not scripted, even though it is scripted. This is kind of scripted, but there are multiple options, and we could do this for 10 minutes if we wanted to, right? And so here's another look at it. Inside look, right? There's one on the inside. So those are 2 sets. I'm going to show you just some plays, right? These are one-offs. These are specific scripted things. They are designed to isolate specific things, okay? So the first one I'll tell you about is again, with this setup here, okay, with that top high center person, if Wawa starts to become stagnant, I'll just yell pop it, okay? And what pop it is, I use this a lot of times off the end line. As soon as it goes out of bounds, I love pop it coming off the end line. And I think some of these videos have that. So pop it, it doesn't matter. Let's just use the end line situation, okay? It goes out. It doesn't matter where we are. Whenever the ball goes out and we start to yell pop it, we're going to go to that girl that got it, her strong hand side, and it's 2 passes to the high top point, no matter what. And so as soon as she's going to get it, if we're yelling pop it, this girl's getting out wide. As soon as she comes in, it's 1, 2. Everybody else goes opposite below GLE. So where these girls are now, these 2 are going opposite below GLE. These 2 are going opposite below GLE. As soon as she catches this ball, this is one-on-one, full speed in space, and anything that comes to help is a free position shot. Okay, so there, ball just went out on the offside, 1 pass. This is way too much. We definitely talked about that. Everyone's below GLE, we get a good shot, right? You don't want to help this, we're gonna get a shot. So this is a backup girl filling in here, and they were probably yelling at her like, no, you don't dodge. Well, I mean, I could see why she kind of went, right? Like she kind of has a good angle here with defenders not paying attention. So she kind of has a chance to wrap this crease here. They come late, up high, and look, if you see everybody else, they're already below GLE. And now this is catch and go full speed. Girls can't neutralize you with a check, so it should be a foot race to a good spot. And if they come to help, that's going to be shooting space. Here's another one. Same thing, ball's out of bounds over here in the corner. 1 pass to the point, everyone's below GLE. One-on-one, no help, same team. So they showed us they're not going to help. They showed us already they're not helping on pop-its. So I'm going to run multiple pop-its, right? I'll take one-on-one in space all the time, right? So that just shows you, hey, they're going to play it different ways because it's random. It's different. Here's another one. So now look, everyone's bunched up off ball. They should be getting below GLE. But look, they send, and now we literally walk this into shooting space. Boom, pump fake, and we're on the 8. Right? Like, so 3 different teams, 3 different ways of playing it. That's just a singular play, right? Am I going to go pop it and then run pop it again and run pop it again? I have done that. So, but I'm not, it's not a set, right? You're not going to run that repeatedly. So that's an example of a play. So I like being in wah-wah. And then when it's stale, I'm yelling pop it. So we get the whole opposite other end of the spectrum. And they're all into that zone of how do we play wah-wah. And all of a sudden we give them something different. 2-man is big. I like 3-man. I want to isolate 3 people and see how they play 3-man defense. So our trips play is a flip to a pass down, pick down off the right elbow. So we're going to isolate here 3 people. Okay, so we're going to isolate these 2. And then this girl here. So 19, 3, and whatever this girl. We're going to isolate these 3. My other 4 girls are drifting wide so that their people can't be involved. And this is going to go flip. Now she should flip. They should be closer. That's what those lines were. They flip this in a non-threatening manner and doesn't give us the 2-on-1. We want them to double the flip or get mixed up on the flip. But we go flip upfield to immediate pass down, pick down. And we're isolating these 3 defenders to see how they're going to play it. So they show to the ball, we feed to the backside. It's a simple 3-man game. And I love this play because this is a drill we run. We just run 3-on-3 trips. We just throw it to the middle girl. It's flip, pass down, pick down, and then free play. So we get reps on this without having to be in 7-on-7 and having a bunch of people, stand around and watch. So here's another trips, and it's going to be a totally different result, right? So look, she's starting, and you can tell they're like, no, we're running trips, right? So here we go, flip play. This is the same group of people. Flip, pass down, and now she realizes that she can just go under. So they're well trained on what kind of options they have out of the trips play. They know that if and think about this, when you run a 3-on-3 drill like that in practice, your defenders know what's going on. Oh, flip to pass down, pick down. So they start cheating. And then what do? We go under. We keep them honest by going under. So these girls are literally like, yeah, we see this all the time. Pass down, pick down. Oh, you're jumping the trips and the flip. We're going under. So totally different option out of that 3-man isolation. So that's a play there where I'm trying. And if it doesn't work, we spin it and we'll go into a set or we'll go into something else. Okay, so now that you've seen our base offense, the 400, you've seen some of our 2-man game on the backside, and you've seen some of our plays, and I'm going to put the audio on here. So I'm yelling good time, right? They're in wild right now. None of this is a set. This is just do what you want to do. Like you can see they're kind of thinking it out. They're going to run a little inside mirror game because they want to. Here's a little pick because they want to. We got cutters going off ball because they want to. Here's a 2-man on the front side. That's not a play of ours. This is just free movement, and they're following the rules of moving the ball forward. Move the ball forward. Create your own situations. Stay wide. 3 to 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Boom. 1, 2. Now she's initiating. 3, 4, 5. Boom. Ready? Initiating again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they're playing a 2-man out, but she's going to follow the rules. Not there. Move it forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's in. Right? So they're following the tempo, which is what we practice. They don't have a specific set shape or formation. They're creating the looks they want to create on their own. So that's when we go wild. And so a lot of times I'll show you this full possession here because this puts it all together. This to me is an ideal possession. So a lot of times my players want to be in wild. They want to run free play because they think they know better. They think they know how to do it. So a lot of times what I do is I say this, when we come down, I want a 20. I want the ball to go around twice. I want to take 20 seconds off. I want to get the right personnel on. That's my time to do that, 20 seconds. Then I'm running a joker to learn their defense. Then I'm going 400 live because I think that's our best offense. If you do those 3 things for me and we haven't turned the ball over, then I'm letting you go wild. You've done what I thought was good offense. Now we're a minute and a half into the clock, and everything after a minute and a half to me is gravy. So what I've called hasn't gotten us good shots. So now your reward for doing what I've asked of you is to now go wild, and now you can create whatever you want. And if we turn the ball over in wild, we've already killed a minute and 30 seconds, a minute and 40 seconds, and we consider that a tie. So if we score, we consider that a win possession. If we go over a minute and a half on the clock, we consider that, a tie. And so in this possession, you'll hear audio of me giving out the different calls, but this is a whole possession from beginning to end. No fast breaks, so I'm yelling 20. Go 2 times around here. There's an example of the front being blocked off, so now this becomes forward. The front side was blocked off, now we're forward. So here's Miami Live. All right, I went 20, and now I'm running a lefty Miami. Lefty Miami, right there. There's your mirror. There's our ISO. Here's our diamond on the backside. So this is me thinking from a coach's perspective, Miami Live is a good look right now. So we're running Miami Live here. Nothing there. Move it forward. Shot and miss. Okay, they got a good look off the shot and miss. Now look, wonder what we're gonna run here. Shot off the end zone or off the end line. Pop it, Michelle. Here it comes. Off the end line, pop it, Michelle. 1-on-1. Nothing there, move it forward. Now we're in wild. They've run 2 plays I've asked them to run, now they're in wild. Create what you want to create, guys. You've done what I've asked you to do. And if you notice, in this wild, they got that same 2-man pick up top, but that is not part of our set offense. That is something they like to do, that they do in practice. So we went from 20 to Miami, nothing there, follow the rules, move it forward, spin it, got a great look inside, backed it up off the end line, went to pop it, reward the girls, they've done what you asked them, now we're in free play of wild. So that's where you see it all come full circle in a possession there, right? And it ends with what? Not the plays that I called. It ended up in wild with them creating their goal. So that's kind of how we put it all together. And that's like a very good possession for us, right? That was a minute and a half. That was 3 different looks. We got 2 really good looks out of that. And that to me is how we kind of piece it together throughout the game. And now on any given day where they're tired or we're on a back-to-back, I may be heavy into plays that day because maybe I think they're in that like fatigue fog,